What's up? What's up, guys? We got no subscribe cat until midnight, guys. So I'm just looking at our rune shards right now, and yeah, it's been happening a lot lately. It's gonna take a little bit to get it resolved. We need to get with YouTube, basically. So the question is, are we gonna do a meta? Or are we gonna do some majors? It is. It's a wild Kira. Are we gonna roll a meta? Or are we gonna roll 3 majors? Look at my runes really quick. I need majors. I've got a dope meta. I've got the best DPS meta. I've only got 2 leg majors, one being speed, one being block. Yeah, I need majors. We're gonna roll some majors. We get to roll 2 tonight, and then I need to get another 100-ish. I got another 400. So we're gonna roll 2 majors tonight. Let's do it right now. .5% health. Ready for the next one? Damage and rage. Rip. Rip. This game apparently just wants to piss me off and does not want me to even be a tank. So we need another 45 to make another roll. Is your heart broken? Because those are about to get recycled. I'm not even effing around. I'm crying a little bit inside. This is what we rolled, guys. 1,000 rune shards. Rip. A 1,000 rune shards into 200 rune shards. And guess what? I guess we can trade up now, right? You guys ready for one more major roll? Let's do it. Hey! There we go. Slight upgrade. Got a little bit of an upgrade here. Yes. There we go. Now we get to click exchange. This UI is super weird. Now we click exchange to get rid of this non-leg dual strike. No, I need all my runes. I need my runes. I've got damage reduction, deflect, damage. These let me. This lets me flip around builds. I definitely want to keep all these. Block, evade, speed, speed. Damage reduce, deflect. I need all these. Gotta keep rolling. Well, guess what? We've also got, I saved for you guys a couple enchants, so I could break your hearts even more on these 3 enchants. Let's see what we get. You ready? So what I really need is a 21 with two 1%s. That's a 20. That's a 20 with almost 2 1%s. That's not bad, but damage and rage blows. I'm getting rid of that. Alright, next beak. Next roll. Next roll. That's nice. Too bad it's 19. Oh no, enrage. Rip. Last roll. That's a nice 21er. Too bad it's enrage though. Another 19. Rip! Well, we gotta post our wins and our losses, right? So... now, onto some PvP. So, what I've been doing in PvP today is messing around with Astali, then Rombolio, myself, and 2 masters. And so far it's been 100% win rate. Hey, what's up, Chaos? We need to restable. So earlier, I don't know if you guys saw, but I rolled a tank build and posted a video. No, I'm gonna wait till Friday to grind PvP. Let's quickly look at Fusion list really fast and see. What do we need to make another master? Because I do want to make another one. Right. We need 200 more pizza. Okay, so let me double check our fams really fast. We do have 5 master. Okay, perfect. So earlier I was running tank, and when I was running tank, I was using 3 masters, so I had to kick one out of the stable. Hey, Teiko Sushi has put in a lot of work into these Kringles. And the gold coins have been coming tonight. So we'll start up the raffles after midnight if I make it that far. Yeah, Rombolio's pretty good as in this 5v5 setup. Why I like Rombolio in this 5v5 is the redirect chance, and he makes a pretty decent off tank, and he's got pretty good attack. I definitely wouldn't be like pushing to make him. As your only tank, I would say Meaty. Meaty is a great tank. I'm happening to use a Stally right now up front because I want the deflect. Ooh, Terry with the win. Yeah, so far we were undefeated, and then we just took a loss. Some of these procs, though, some of this range is insane. Yeah, that heal. We were farming Terry there for a minute, but some of those heals just were insane. Yeah, when I grind Friday, I'm gonna be rolling as tank though. Although this is proving to be pretty darn stable. At midnight PST. So about an hour and 15 from now? About an hour and 15 minutes? Uh-oh, we're gonna take a loss on this one. The gold coins are flowing tonight. I'm loving this. Oh man. Let's go up against Temu. This is a big mistake, but let's do it. Yeah, that's a lot of DPS on Temu. Oh my god. And Pete, I mean, look at these setups. Super tank. Super duper tank. Super duper duper tank. Really? Effed to more effed. Let's go with Brazili. I'm gonna go meaty as the backup here. Estali to meaty. Look at Estali just get melted in 5v5. Did you see that? Holy smokes. Yeah, that's some decent TS. I don't know. If I put in another Estali, what could we get to? Yeah. Almost 13,000 TS. We'll roll meaty though in spot 2. Although, I'm probably missing some of the redirect, but Estali is just melting. I feel like I need a little bit more tank. So, that's why I put meaty in second slot. I also put Estali in first slot because I want those deflects to be helping me kill early and quick. So, oh yeah, I lost my boosts. So am I gonna go crazy? Am I gonna go crazy grinding? And why I ask is, should I use a super scroll or should I be using tomes? I'll use tomes because I'm gonna grind experience tonight. So we went with 200% bonuses instead of 150% in Super Scroll. What's up, Caleb? Yeah, Meaty's HP is really good. His absorb is really good, and it helps him stand up a lot longer. Yeah, I would love to make a 5-5 Meaty. I really would. I don't... Yeah, I'll probably farm some guild versus guild later. I think what I want to do is try and push Gauntlet. Push Gauntlet levels a little bit. My Gauntlet level is kind of low right now. Yeah, I am really liking meaty. Yeah, what's your question, Kira? Hey, what's up, Optech? What's your question, Caleb? Yes, you can, Caleb. Was originally doing... if anybody wants... What's the name of the previous song? Good question, to be honest. I have it on random, so I don't know. You have to ask during the song. What's up, wild man? So Subscribe Cat is offline for another hour. Hour and 10 minutes. We are over the YouTube API limit right now. I actually feel bad about Meaty because he's not +5, but those feet, the Orlag feet just won't drop. First I thought feet were dropping really well today, like they may have patched it. Did a bunch of Orlag earlier, but it seems that I was wrong because I went a long spell with no feet. Hello. Look at Meaty, man. Wow. What a beast. Maybe I should switch the order up. Let's try that again. I'm gonna switch Meaty to front, Estelle to second. Let's see what we do. Or maybe I'll get rid of Estali and put Rombolio in second. Yeah, it's super true, Wookie. Super true. Now Rombolio's getting wrecked. I'm wondering if that's coming from redirects? Rip. Time to remove some TS. Actually, we've only got a couple more runs left, and then we're gonna go push, I'm gonna push Gauntlet. See what level we can do. I don't know about that, man. I will, I think I just want to try and enjoy myself. There's a lot of heavy hitters in this game. I don't know. I'm thinking median second slot is better. Because we are currently over the YouTube API limit. Man, those redirect procs. Oh wow, did you see how fast Esteli got melted? That was insane. Amazing. So much DPS. So much DPS. Alright, let's double check our setup really quick. And I think we're gonna run Skull. And try and run Skull a little bit. Let's push some Gauntlet here. I think we want meaty. And do we want Weembo? Or do we want some deeps? Man, we are hitting some resistance pretty early on. We're only on the 5th level here. Yes, I do have Wacom, but I've only got one Wacom at the moment. Okay, well, let's go see. What it takes. Okay, 285. We need to push past 290. Let's do it. That would be awesome. The fam, when your fam spawn, it's based on your TS. So SSS1 has over 3,000 TS at this point. So his fams will be crazy strong. Yeah, we'll be kicking off raffles in about an hour. Just keep grinding, man. Just keep grinding. We all start somewhere. I remember when I was... I actually don't remember when I was 83, but I remember being at the point where I could not auto R3. That's obviously before R4 came out, so we all start somewhere, man. Just keep grinding. That's the tip. Do whatever you can to raise your TS. That is true, Bun. That is true, Bun. It is very pay to win. Pay to play, I would say. Because we're not really winning anything except a hole in our wallet, but pay to play. Pay to grind. Yep. Yep. That is true. Wook's been here for the whole thing, man. Wookie's been here. I would be willing to do Orlag if you guys want to put together a group. What's with these super potions, man? And why are they on the left side? Shouldn't they be past major? Doesn't make sense to me. Hey, Klaus. Yeah, I think you're right, Wild Man. They just want us to use them. You'll get there, Bunky. Just keep going, man. I actually remember getting stuck at certain points, and then I would get a drop. I would get like another epic drop or something, and the little TS bump that you would get would give you enough to get past, man. Yeah, trust me, I still do commands all the time, even though I know it's off. So who all is gonna go crazy in Gauntlet this week? Yeah, Bun. Keep grinding shramps. You want shramps. What's up, Edmund? So I'm telling you guys right now, I'm not gonna go for the pet. I'm staying out of the pet. I dropped about 2 grand on the last time, and I got Nerder. So, you guys can have it. Zone 5 tank that's better than Shramps. A +5 Shramps. No, really. Shramps +5, he should be a legendary. He's really good. I would focus on getting a +5 Shramps. And when you can manage it, Meaty. I'm really loving Meaty. He's my go-to now ahead of Estali now. Yeah, Shramps, +5 Shramps is a monster, man. I don't know, if you guys were around for some of the earlier streams, I was doing +5 Shramps versus +2 Bobotum, and Shramps was smoking him. It was actually pretty even, but I've only got one Meaty right now. Yeah, Wookiee's spot on. Wikipedia is spot on. I only have one Meaty right now, just because the feet are so hard to get. I've done a lot of Orlag. Alright, we're creeping up here. Yeah, Wildman is on point right there. It does matter which schematic you get. If you're free to play, you gotta roll with what schematics you get, that's for sure. You don't really have the luxury to just go crazy grinding. We could do some T6 Heroic, actually, because Zero needs a couple. Hey, that's a good thing. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do some T6 Heroic right now? Because Zero needs 2 sets. And we can do some with some of the members here. Wookie, are you set up as tank? Do you want T6 Heroic? Because I could roll tank, I guess. Zero is set as a healer right now. I don't think we need... You don't even need any TS. I could probably just carry you. This is getting sketch right here. We're starting to hit our limit of auto. I think 282 might be our limit. Let's see. Zero needs to get 2 set drops from T6 Heroic. I'm gonna go ahead and spawn him up right now. If anybody wants to join some T6 Heroic with us, we're gonna do some carrying. Yes, anybody will be able to join regardless of TS. T6 Heroic should not be too difficult for us, as long as we've got a decent tank. Hey Wookie, are you set as tank right now? Okay, I read up on your message. So what I will do is I'm gonna run Kiraz as tank. and I was not even paying attention. And we just autoed 282. Let's push 283 real quick. So Zero is now logged in. Oof, defeat. Couldn't hit auto off quick enough. Alright. Well, made it to 282. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to tank build right now. And try to figure out how I can do that ongoing. Without having to re-roll stats each time. It's actually not too bad, to be honest. That's not too bad for T6 Heroic. Okay. Let's spawn this puppy up. Got my runes on, right? Or item find? Yes. Okay. Boss fight. Summon. Orlag. Tier 6. Heroic. Private. Kiraz as tank. Oh my god. I know. What a pleb. What a pleb. Alright. Zoi Fwang is on top of it. And got his invite. Caleb, did you already log in? Willy Waffles. Okay, Andy Lou. It's basically going to become first come, first serve when we get and Willy. And I need to save a spot for Zero Crash. I invited Willy, but it's gonna basically, I'm gonna spam invites, and whoever takes it gets it. I sent 4 invites right there. Okay. Let's do this. Yeah, guys, you can just roll on auto. Everybody set it to auto. I think we'll need to replace Green Bot in slot 2. He's lagging pretty hard. Yeah, Stessen, we need to get 0-2 sets, and I figure let's help some people on the stream. Maybe get some drops or some cosmetics or something. The first is a freaking set drop. Really? Where's my bub at? I'm sorry guys, I really do have shitty range, I promise you. First person to put up their IGN is gonna get an invite. Baby, just go ahead and spam invites to the first couple people, like Willie, Edmund, Mark. So pretty much, guys, the game is gonna be when we get a free slot. You just put your IGN in chat, and whoever the leader is gonna copy paste and invite you guys. Yeah, we do need some sets. We do. Need to get 0-2 sets, so I'll be running till we can do that. It's pretty much nightly, Andy. As soon as I can get the kids to sleep, I usually try to stream, unless I'm super tired myself. My job would probably be classified as a little bit of engineering and a little bit of business. And a little bit of sales. Yeah, we need some deeps. We need some DPS. No, 0 is not my account. That's actually a friend of mine. And 0 got a leg. He got Necrolite. Terry has offered to join us, which would help the DPS quite a bit. Uh-oh. Purple is a monster. My goodness. Let's just hope we don't get purple again. Yes, he can. As soon as we get a free slot. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to carry, which is two 2400 TSers. We can, but purple was a challenge, that's for sure. Yeah, I foresee folks going ham. What do you think the top points is going to be? 5 million? In Gauntlet? Hey, Zero got Wacom. That's cool. Not... Yes, there is. I just realized anybody that has me in their raid team right now is like, what? It just happened to my team. Yeah, unfortunately for whoever has me for raid teams, you're pretty much always going to be screwed on Fridays. Yeah, that's true, Stetson. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, save them for Friday, man. Get your double bonus. Okay, so guess what? We've got an open slot. First one. First one to post your IG ed. All right. And first one to accept the invite. We need Rayson to send the invites though. There you go. Move Zero Crash up a slot. There we go. It's basically protect the DPS. Yeah, another 15 or so minutes, and we'll have subscribe cap. Yeah, you know what? Let's boot up his house. Let's boot up a Sasquatch Chronicles.
That's run into such a thing. If you've had an encounter, email me. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Happy New Year to everyone. I don't know if I got a chance to say that on the last show. I know we're coming up on a new year, and I know a lot of people can't wait for 2016 to end. Hopefully it was a good year for you. If not, I wish you the best in 2017. I got a great show planned for you tonight. Going to be bringing on two guests, Gerald and Anthony. And Gerald, his encounter is fascinating. Having these creatures on the property, experiencing the vocalization, and then actually seeing the creature. Very, very interesting stuff. I know with Anthony, he talks about he's experiencing stuff at his grandfather's cabin. But beyond Bigfoot, one of the strange things he ran into was a light in the forest. And wait till you hear this light that he ran into. Very interesting. I don't know that I've ever talked to anyone that's run into such a thing. But remember, if you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is wes@sasquatchchronicles.com. And if you're looking for a gift, go check out sasquatchchronicles.com. For the members, click on the shop at the top, and you can look at gifts, shirts, beanies, all kinds of Sasquatch Chronicle gear for the Bigfoot person in your life or for yourself. I hope you get a chance to check it out. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Gerald to the show. Gerald, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And if you would, you sent me the email, and I was looking through some of the different things that were going on. Do you just want to start from the beginning and talk about what you have going on and around your property? You don't have to give away the location. We can just say Kentucky. Other than that, you don't have to give any more information on it. But if you would, kind of start from the beginning. Tell us how this all began and what you're experiencing out there, if you would.
Okay. Well, in 2011, my son was born, and up until that time, my wife and I both have been very big into hunting. Squirrel hunting, deer hunting, turkey hunting, rabbit hunting. If it had a season, we hunted it. And whenever my son came along, we decided we would just kind of take a break. I wanted to spend time with him and devote more time to him than I did to the outdoors. I figured I would start back up when he got old enough to go with me. So, 2015, which was last year, the first muzzleloading season was coming around, and my wife, she said, "Why don't you go hunting?" And I said, "Well, She goes, I really didn't want to, I kind of felt guilty because I couldn't take my son yet, because I kind of said I wouldn't go till he could go with me. She said, "No, you need to go. Go ahead and go. I'll watch you. I'll plan something with him, and you go." So I was all excited, and it was, like I said, it was the opening muzzleloading season, which will be in October last year. So I was all ready to go.
Looked at this. I think we listened to this one before.
Probably 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we listened to that one before.
before we run out of time, I want to talk about your nephew. I know he was a law enforcement officer, and he had a sighting, and the story breaks my heart when I heard it. Do you mind sharing it?
No, I don't mind. My nephew was 14 years younger than I am. He was in his early 30s. He worked a third night shift. He was a deputy sheriff. I'm not sure what county, but they lived out by Kingfisher Lake in Texas. And he called, I won't say his name, okay? But he called me. It was about 10:30 in the morning, and he was crying. He was drunk, and he told me that he had seen a werewolf. And I had never, this was back. My husband was still alive, so he died in 2004. This was maybe after 2000. No, it would have been in the late 90s. He called me. He was crying. He was upset. He said that he had stopped this pickup load of guys. There was 3 guys in the cab, and 5 of them were in the back of the pickup. And he had pulled them over because he thought they'd been drinking. And they were Mexicans, and most of them spoke Spanish. I think the driver spoke a little English, and my nephew, I almost said his name, my nephew, we'll call him Tom, my nephew Tom asked for the registration and driver's license, and all of a sudden the guys in the back started screaming and yelling, and the only thing my nephew could catch was Lobo, Lobo. And the guy was telling him, give him his stuff back. And Tom's car had the lights flashing, of course, and he had his flashlight out to look at the registration and everything. And he looked up, and they have a lot of mesquite trees down in that area and stuff, and he said, coming out of the mesquite trees was a werewolf. And I said, a werewolf? And he said, yes, Aunt Pat, it was a werewolf. He said, these guys took off. He said, I shot at it. He said, it just stopped and stood there. And he said, it was growling at me. And he said, I got back in the car, and he said, I took off. And he said, but I saw a werewolf last night. And I told him, I said, honey, I said, it must have been Bigfoot. And he had told me, he said, the reason he called me was he knew his dad wouldn't believe him, and that he knew that I'd seen a lot of things, paranormal things, UFOs, Bigfoot. And he said, I knew you would believe me. And I said, there's no such thing as werewolves. They're fairy tales. And he said, no, I'm telling you, Aunt Pat, I saw a werewolf. He said, I got a really good look at it. He said it was a big wolf. He said it was on its hind legs. He said it was walking. And I said, well, did it look like a dog in the legs, or did it look like a man's legs? And he said it looked like a dog's legs. And I said, werewolves don't exist. It must have been a Bigfoot you saw, and your mind just locked that it must be a werewolf, Because I'd never heard at that time of Dog Man, nothing. I had just got a computer. I didn't know anything about YouTube, nothing. I mean, I knew the thing about the King of France that had offered the bounty on this beast that was supposed to be a werewolf that had killed a bunch of people in these villages. But that was it, And for weeks, every few days, he would call me crying, drunk, telling me that he had got to where he could not stop a car. He could not make himself stop anybody because every time he would try to stop a car, this thing would come out of the woods. He said, it's following me, Aunt Pat. He said, I have to drive the same route every night. And he said, I'm telling you, it's following me. He said, it's going to kill me. And I just, finally, after about 3 months of this, I called my brother, his dad, and I told him, I said, Tom is really out of control with his drinking. I never brought up werewolves. I never said anything about that because I felt like that he had entrusted me with that, and I wasn't going to say anything. But he ended up losing his job because he started drinking on the job. He ended up such a bad alcoholic. Him and his wife broke up. He moved in with my brother and my sister-in-law, and they had to, anything that had alcohol in it, Listerine, vanilla extract, I mean, anything, they had to take it out of the house because Tom would find it and drink it. And he died when he was almost 42 years old. And it all started from him saying that he saw a werewolf. And I never, when I really started hearing these shows about dog men, I never thought about that until the other day. I was listening to one of y'all's shows, and it was when you were talking to Linda Godfrey, and you were talking about the devil dogs and the Border Patrol, and Linda said something about a werewolf, and I thought, oh my God.
Oh, what the hell? That was short. Should have known it was right in the middle. Let's see what we got here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
People share their encounters. Let's start the show.
We had just finished getting our tents up and everything else. We look up, and here comes a line of about 6 to 8. I don't remember the exact amount. I know there's a minimum of 6. I want to say there was 8. SUVs, all coming right down the road, pulling right into the camp area. And they surround the whole camp. I mean, it's like a drug raid. That it was this obvious show of force. First thing they do is tell us to all be calm. They disarm everyone who's carrying a weapon, and then they proceed to separate us. And they separate us out into a couple of groups. They keep us there for about 10, 15 minutes. The primary agent singled out Bob. He demanded, to know where Bob was at that point, right when they come in. I remember hearing that. And they proceeded to question us. Now, I'm not going to go into what the questions were. These guys, I think, still have ongoing legal issues. So I'm not going to say what questions were being asked. I will say they seemed like ridiculous questions.
They were petty. They did not seem to make sense at the time for what was actually going on. We all lined up. We all, we were asked. We gave them our answers. And for the next 2 hours after that, we were just standing there, isolated from each other, and they would hit people individually. They'd go up and they'd go and ask them, pull them aside and ask questions. They'd, pull someone else aside and ask them questions. Their show of force was more the quiet intimidation, just stand here for 30 minutes and don't say anything. That kind of a thing. And they kept this up for about 2 or 3 hours. During this time, they'd start asking questions and making statements, and it became obvious they had been listening to us before they came to the camp.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. The Big Thicket Watch Group, Bob Garrett, Tim Sermons, Mo, all those guys are trying to do expeditions for people. They want to take people out into certain areas where they've had encounters, kind of show them what they know, and then things went bad really quick with regard to the government. Back on the episode you just heard from Steven, who was a participant of that expedition, he was explaining from his perspective what was going on. They had just set up camp. All of a sudden, they get, 6 to 8 SUVs rolling on them. Law enforcement gets out, kind of gets on top of these guys, separates everyone, a lot of intimidation going on. And keep in mind, these people are looking for Bigfoot. I mean, I don't understand why that doesn't shock anyone. But anyway, they go through, they separate all these guys. You heard Steven's side of the story with regard to what happened, and I have Bob and Tim Sermons on the line, and they are going to tell their side of the story on what happened. Bob, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here tonight.
Hey, how you doing, Wes?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear you're doing better, and I also want to welcome Tim Sermons to the show. Tim, thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem. How are you guys?
Doing well. There's been kind of a situation out there in Texas, and I'm glad you guys decided to come on and talk about, what's been going on down there. Maybe, Tim, if you would start from the beginning, kind of give the audience a timeline of how this whole thing exploded, and Bob, feel free to jump in at any time.
Well, we decided, we were going out, we were doing, we were getting a lot of things, and we wanted to share it with people. We came to that conclusion because we were helping some other groups, and they were actually getting, they were, based on what we were telling them, they were getting their own evidence. They were having their own sightings. So, we decided we wanted to share with people what we do, and, we know where to go and everything, and have the experiences that we have. So we came up with the idea to start the Big Thicket Watch LLC. So we discussed it for quite a while. And Bob and I went back and forth on even whether or not we wanted to do it. The goal behind it was to just educate people and to, have a good time. And, we wanted to feed them, and we wanted to do everything else, take care of everything so they can just come out and enjoy what we enjoy. So, in that regard, we did ask for a fee, but it wasn't like it was a big money-making thing. And,
The fee thing, we weren't going to make any money, Tim. We already knew that. The fee was basically just to buy groceries for everybody because when they came out, we didn't want them to have to worry about, buying, their own groceries and coming out and everybody having a separate camp and everything. And we wanted it to, make it fun for everybody. And so we wanted to have like a chuck wagon cookout in a way. And everybody eat at the chuck wagon. Everybody socialized and tell what, they had been experiencing. And, the guys could, give them some stories of what they might come across and the footprints and the sounds we might hear at night and, things of like that. And so it was a good idea. It was a good idea to have the chuck wagon, I guess you might say. Have everybody socialize. Like I said, we just wanted everybody to experience the things that we've been experiencing for the past few years. And as Tim said, helping some of these other groups organize, since I had the maps and everything, made their little expeditions quite popular here in Texas. And so we just decided to do it for ourselves as well. Mostly, I just wanted to, I wanted to gauge the reaction. I wanted to see people's reaction. And people did get scared. So a lot of times, if they would go out the first night, or even on Saturday, they absolutely would not go anywhere on Sunday, or they would go out on Friday night, and and some of them absolutely did not want to go back in the woods on Saturday. And we discussed things like that, and gauged or asked why, and we got their reactions, and a lot of the unbelievers became believers very quickly in just a few minutes.
Prior to this, you guys are finding evidence, and you guys have been on the show. Bob's been on the show. You guys are finding evidence, and you come up with the idea of taking people out. I know you guys looked into the permit, and most people don't know the permit story because when this whole thing happened, they said, well, you should have just got a permit. And if they actually knew the backstory on the permit, it's a little shocking. At what point did you decide, hey, let's go get a permit, and then what happened?
Well, Bob researched, and I researched what kind of permit we needed. We found absolutely nothing. So there were quite a few participants on the very first expedition. So we thought we were well within right by what we were doing, because we were told if there was no more than 25 people, we wouldn't need a permit. That was the initial information that we received. Well, the minute we got out there, it was Friday of that very first expedition. Here comes the feds. They rolled in on that one. Now, we hadn't really talked about that, but they did. They rolled in on that one. And they said, you can't do it. You don't have a permit. You have all this other stuff. So after, they detained Bob really for probably a good hour or so. And see, I wasn't there. I came at the camp when everything was finishing up. Then at that point we figured, well, crap, we're going to have to go to the main ranger station and sit down and have a conversation with those guys. So we talked about that, and it was me, Bob, and Waylon, and that's what we decided we were going to do. So I can't remember the date we went, but we went in there. And, after everything that we've been through, I didn't get into other things that have happened prior to this with our experience with some of these fellows. I thought it would be an outstanding and awesome idea if I took my audio recorder in there and recorded the whole conversation. So we went in there, had a meeting with the head ranger, and it was we were sitting there talking to him, and we told him what we wanted to do and everything, and he goes, well, give me just 1 minute. Let me get this other guy. This other guy walks in. This guy must have been 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
But he was a BLM guy, the Bureau of Land Management guy, and he's over the doggone ranger. So the 5 of us were sitting there having a discussion about the permit. And when I tell you it was like trying to cut a deal with the mob, that's exactly what it was like. They said, well, you can do this. This falls under outfitting and guiding. We would need to see your financials. We would need to see what your business plan is. We would need to see all this stuff. And he said, it has to be worth our while in order to do this. And getting a permit can be very difficult. Not to say that it can't be done, but it could be very difficult.
And you told them that you planned on taking people out to look for Bigfoot, right?
Absolutely.
And they didn't bat an eye. As a matter of fact, with all my run-ins with them before Tim ever, came onto the scene and into our group here, I had already had a lot of run-ins with them in the first place. One of the first things they wanted to know from us was they wanted to know the migration habits. I guess they had some of the migration but they wanted to know what I knew about migration of these creatures. They did not deny, pardon me, they did not deny at all that these creatures existed. They wanted us to fill in some of their blanks for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Neither one of those guys batted a single eye at the whole situation. They kept going on about the money. It's got to be beneficial for this. Getting a permanent permit for this is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. He said, I come from Colorado where we do a lot of outfitting and guiding, but here in Texas, we don't know if we're going to do all that stuff. And then they said they would have to open it up for bidding. And then he goes, part of the problem is, this is what he said, this just kind of blew me away. He goes, part of our problem is we don't know where Bigfoot or Sasquatch goes. I'm going to have to get with the biologist and see what their opinion is of this. And he goes, we may even have, and this blew me away, we may even have to rely on experts such as yourselves. That whole statement blew me. And by the way, we're like, what? You got a BLM guy telling us this? The big thing with that was we were in there for an hour. He kept talking about the money and everything else like that. So what they also didn't know is we actually had a copy from another group of a special use permit that they authorized them, and they basically told us that we couldn't get the permit, or they told us they would mail us a permit. When we got to that point in talking about it, he specifically said, well, we can do that, but we would have to agree on one general location that you could go. And I asked the question, I said, well, where can we go or where can we not go? And he said, you cannot go anywhere west of I-45. He says, your areas that you can go to would be east out of Huntsville, Texas, north of 190, south of 190, all the way over to I-59. So he cut out half the dang forest, and half the dang forest, well, we won't get into that, but...
And I want to go more into this conversation that you had with them, but did he say why you couldn't go in those areas?
He claimed some woodpecker. They said they had some sort of breeding population, the largest breeding population of this woodpecker in the entire South. And he said that they even have a law on their books that even if you're hiking on the Lone Star Trail, you cannot camp within 100 feet of any cavitated tree. That law is so dang vague. Find a tree that doesn't have a hole in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So, and then he was talking about doing controlled burns. Well, they had already done the controlled burns. And then he was talking about logging operations. But we know where all those are. And I'll tell you what, everything west of 45, they had done that a couple of years ago. They're not doing any logging over there. They're not doing any controlled burns over there. They don't want us over there. That was made plain and simple. Do not go over to west of that road, I-45. Do not do it. Don't take people in there. Don't go over there. That's just really kind of odd to us,
Had you guys been in those areas? You guys drove me everywhere when I was down there. Had you guys been in those areas he's talking about?
Every one of them. One thing I want to make clear about the permit, Wes, is I want to back up just a little bit to make it a little more clear for the people that are listening. As we were helping these other groups, they would go get their permit and they would have it, the first day. And they didn't pay for the permit. It was just a special use permit.
Well, that only happened
a lot of times, it happened once, but most of the time they didn't need a permit. They were told if they had, 25 or less people or whatever, that there was no permit needed.
Right.
And
we're talking about the BFRO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not naming any names.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Anyway, they had three of them that we helped them out with and showed them on the maps, my maps. They had a good time. They had sightings, and I think like 14 of them had sightings of the same squatches. But that so beside the point. The point is that we were working on, I was working on that clarification to me that we didn't need a permit as long as we stayed under 25 people. Okay, so, that was fine. And so in the beginning, we fully thought that we were totally within our rights to have people come out there with us, and we take them, places, and we didn't need a permit. The other group did it. I mean, had been doing it for years and had never been bothered. And so we thought it would be no different with us, but I should have known because I have had run-ins with the feds, the Parks Department, for several years since before then. And I should have known that I would be differently. I would be treated differently. And sure enough, they sped in and they interrogated me for, I don't know, over an hour or so. But there was a lot of things that really upset me. And I guess, I don't know, we don't have to get into them, but I just wanted to clarify that one of the reasons why we didn't go and get the permit in the beginning is because we thought we were under our legal rights to have a gathering of 25 or so people out there and needed no permit. And that's what we were working on. That's the way they worked with the other group for years and years out there. And we thought that we would be, no different than the other group. But it escalated from there for us.
Before you guys get into that, what kind of run-ins did you guys have with the feds?
Well, where to start on that one? Bob's had quite a bit more experience with them than I've had. But, we've been out in the woods and, you can go back to your Insider episode that you've done, not the most recent, but the one you did where, with Ken, I think was his name, and where we were in the woods and we were getting shot at. And that guy told you when, where, what time we left, everything, and we were getting shot at. That's the truth. And that was not a very small caliber gun that was being shot at us at all.
Oh, bro.
So that's happened. We've been shot at a few times out there. Can you say, the same night that was coming out, that happened, we were going down the road and here comes a car right up on us, a cop car, and coming up on our bumper, and then turns his lights on and then comes around us and turns on down the road. So that's the kind of things that I've had more experience dealing with. Them face to face, I have not had too many. Bob's had way more, and I know some of those are a little sensitive. So I don't know how much he's going to want to say. But that's been mainly my experience with them at this point until all this.
Well, Tim, when the first day you came out with us, and then you started really coming out, I told you, I said, don't be surprised if a game warden or federal agents come out here and harass us. And you thought, well, Bob's crazy. I know you did. And then I told you about the helicopters and everything and all of that. And then what happened on the corridor?
Yeah, Wes, you've been to the spot. We were down at this one particular place. This particular place we always go, and there's just hardly enough room to turn around. So I always turn around and back in and face my way out because you can't go anywhere. You can't go straight once you get to the end. We're sitting there,
Bueller,
Bob and I, we had the windows down, we had our audio recorders, and then off to our right, which would be going north, upriver, you can hear, we hear 3 or 4 extremely awesome freaking Squatch calls. And I'm telling you, not 5 minutes after that happened, you hear the helicopter coming, and he's flying low right across the lake. Comes right to where we are. He's got the spotlight on. He's spotlighting the ground and everything. And he didn't light us up, but he's put that spotlight in front of us. If he saw us, he did. I don't know how he didn't. And then he turned and went north to where those calls came from. So that was my first, and we actually recorded the helicopter flying over. But I mean, he was so low that the tops of the trees were blowing, from those rotors. So, and it was most definitely a Black Hawk helicopter.
Well, they hover over our camps occasionally with their spotlights on. What these are actually called little birds. They're small and smaller than a Black Hawk, and they're called little birds. They have a spotlight, and they also are equipped with. Because I'm familiar with them, they are equipped with night vision and also flare, heat seeking. These things have always, they've always followed us down the trails that we go through. If we're on the corridor, which is a migration area for these things, they will pick us up. I think there's ground sensors out there. And what they do is they come out and they spotlight us at night. They spotlight our camps. They spotlight us on the Lone Star Trail occasionally. It's not an everyday occurrence, but what it was an everyday occurrence was the fact that we would get followed. We would get followed all the time from our house. Into the national forest. They would follow us where we go, and then there would be an appearance from the park police or the feds. I'll just say it, the feds. I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but the park department actually has federal agents. They're not just park police, and they're not just game wardens. They have their own federal agents, and these are the ones that we've been dealing with a lot.
That's true. So I mean, we've had run-ins with them. They haven't been as aggressive as with this situation.
Well, let's go back to the permit. You guys are trying to get the permit. How do you guys, he's saying you can go into these areas, but don't cross over here, don't go into this area. And how does that conversation kind of end?
He just said, that's where he said, I don't know where Bigfoot goes. I don't know this. I'd have to, getting the permit. I'll be happy to email you the permit, or not email, mail you the permit application. But I can't guarantee you anything. It has to be within the government's interest. It has to be beneficial to the government in order for it to even be considered. And at that point, they didn't even guarantee us anything, because they said if they were going to do it, that they would open it up to bidding to other groups and everything to see if they wanted to do this. And they, with the government, they're going to go the lowest bid. So, that was pretty much kind of how it went down.
Well, they were supposed to have sent the application to us. I knew that they were never going to do it, but we checked the mail and checked the mail and checked the mail, and neither one of us got anything. Our business address never got anything. And Waylon, who is pretty much a part of us, he went in there to get a permit to go into what we call Monkey Pond. He was just innocently going in there because I think he was going to take his girls or something. His children. Of course, we were going to come out there at night and do some camping and everything. The thing about it is that he saw this Frank. Matter of fact, Frank was basically watching him. And he told Frank and reminded him to send the permit, the applications for these permits. And Frank said, "Well, I've been busy with broken pipes and stuffed up plumbing and stuff like that in some of the campgrounds and everything." And But it doesn't take you 5 minutes to put a permit, or not a permit, but a application for a permit in the mail. The secretary could do that. It's not a big deal. But the thing about it is that he was issued a permit to this area, and it wasn't 10 minutes that he left the forestry headquarters that he got a telephone call, and they pulled his permit.
Yeah, that's Wayland. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Wayland. They pulled his permit
from going into the monkey pond.
Yeah, they called him and told him
go into monkey pond.
They told him the camp area was full and that they couldn't. That permit was no good, and she was looking at the wrong calendar day or something like that, which is a bunch of crap. Because I can neither deny nor confirm, we still went in there that night, and there was not a soul in that place, allegedly. So so that's proof positive they were just screwing around with us.
Yeah. So when you guys were trying to get the permit, had you guys done any outings yet? You guys had done a couple of them, hadn't you?
We did the one, and that's when what was it, Bob? The game warden showed up. Right.
And the game warden showed up. The game warden was bored. I mean, he didn't give a damn. The two park police who work real close to the federal agents, the park agents, they were there. And then the agent himself was there. The federal agent was there. And they talked to us for a long time, and wanted to know all kinds of information that really, if he was just going to give us a ticket, had nothing to do with anything. He's the one that told us to go down there and do that. I was trying to get him to. I was trying to get him to make me understand why, if these other groups have been doing this for years, why are we being busted doing exactly the same thing that they're doing, and on the same way? And basically, they don't want us to let people know what we know. They wanted to know what I knew, and I wasn't going to tell them. And they were real interested in my maps and stuff like that. But I wasn't going to let them. I wasn't going to give any of that stuff up. So anyway, I got my ticket, and everybody had to leave. I had to get out of there right now. And, all my people are, well, not my people, but all the guys had to get out of there right now. So I didn't have a choice. I had to go or go to jail. Everybody went to a different spot, but they had a good time there too.
Is this the second incident, Bob, or the first?
No, it's still the first one.
This is the very first one. This is the very first one, and on my ticket it said January. Well, this was in February, and I'll get to some of that about the courthouse and that little tidbit of information right there. Yeah. It said January. We had not been out in January. We were still, me and Tim were still talking about permits and what we need to do legally and everything else in January. No one had ever been out in January. It was February that people came out.
One of the other things about that first meeting, Bob, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but, we had the satellite camp. Because do you want to talk about the other part?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I don't care because we've been to court. Everything's done. I want everybody to know one thing, though. I really do apologize. Me and Tim, from the bottom of our hearts, totally apologize that we have left so many people in limbo out there. But the reason why is because we were told we could not contact any of the participants, any other participants from that night that we got really busted. And they came in with, like 7-8 cars and everything that last night, not the first one. But we could not we could not talk to any of these people, or we would get more tickets. And so we didn't. And I know a few people got upset about it and everything, but there was nothing that we could explain. And I know that we were being monitored, being, watched and everything. And so we could not speak to these people. We did not know how they were monitoring us exactly, but they were. We conformed to just a total blackout of not speaking to anyone. Tim and I did. And I just wanted y'all to understand that. We could not do anything. And we conformed to that to keep ourselves further out of trouble.
And so Tim had mentioned the satellite camp. What's the satellite camp?
Oh, yeah, the satellite camp. People were asking to, do some satellite camping, and there's a place, it's a pond. It's a beautiful place, but, oh, my God, it's like 2 miles into the middle of nowhere. So we went out there, we were setting it up, and Tim and Waylon and I, we took out a bunch of campfire wood, and I have this big trailer, and we had to pull it. It liked to kill Tim and Waylon. But I'm not laughing at you guys, but it was kind of funny.
That was a rough one.
Yeah. And both of y'all decided we're not doing this again. We're not taking anything out there again. Well, anyway, the boys, my sons, they were going to be in charge of the satellite camp. A lot of people wanted to go. They had gone, and they were setting up the tents and getting ready for everybody to come out there, and getting ready with the campfire and the food that they would cook and things like that. Well, they had walked down. They had to make several trips of that 2 miles back up to their pickup truck to carry in more stuff. It was a pain in the butt, but people would really like it because there's a lot of activity out there. But anyway, my sons got shot at. Granted, some of the rounds weren't but about 25 feet away from them. And believe me, if you've been in combat, 25 feet is 25 feet too damn close,
Yeah.
My Travis, my son, well, he pulled his gun. He was looking for something to shoot back down range, but he couldn't see him. And then the shooting stopped. Well, they sat in there in their little holes in the ground, watching very closely, and nothing else happened for a while. So they got up and they started moving, and they moved on to the camp. Well, they called me and told me that they were being shot at, and I told I was in the middle of talking to the agent, and I told him, I said, well, here, talk to him, and I gave him the phone. I said, people are shooting at my sons. Well, he didn't want to take the phone and took it, and he talked to them, and they all rushed out and everything. They came in a whole different way than we know anyway, and we've been out there for years. And as a matter of fact, they came in from no man's land. That's what I call it, no man's land.
Now, when you say they came in, are you talking about, okay, is this the second time you guys had been interrupted with the federal agents, or is this still the first time?
It's still the first.
This is still the first expedition, yes.
And you said the agents came in from no man's land. What does that mean?
Basically what it is there was one road that's gated off that we would walk in, and you can drive. I mean, if you had a key, you could drive down part of the way. There was another way in there that we didn't know about, and they came in their vehicles completely around a completely different way and came in behind them. And that's what he means by that. They came in a completely different way. We had no idea. There was even a way to get back there that way.
So they came in from or just a random position, not the normal way you would drive into this camp.
Yeah, they didn't take the direct route. They took a indirect route, which didn't make any sense either unless they were already out there.
They didn't care that my sons had gotten shot at. What they cared about was what was in the tents, what was in their backpacks, what was in what was in their pouches, their tins of food and stuff like that. What was in there? Do y'all have any drugs? Where's your guns and all of this stuff and everything. And Travis, Travis is really quiet, but he's kind of like me. He's got a hell of an attitude. And he told him, he said, "Hey, look, we got shot at right down here." He said, "I can take you down here and show you where we got shot at. The bullets hit the trees." And they waved him off and said, "Oh, no, don't worry about that." Yeah, that's exactly what they told him. Travis was mad, boy, and so was Brandon.
That's odd. You think that'd be high up on the priority, someone getting shot at, generally, and very close to where...
Well, I'm fixing to get to that. That's something that really upset me and shocked me. And I'm fixing to get to that in just a second, okay? They left my sons out there in danger. When does a law enforcement people leave people out in the middle of nowhere where they have to walk down past where they just got shot at in the middle of danger instead of driving them to their vehicles? When does that happen? It doesn't happen. So we got a group together and we started out there, and believe me, if somebody would started shooting at me, I was going at it with my semi-auto. I mean, I was just going to go at it. And everybody out there with us, Tim, Waylon, and a couple of people from the participants, and we wanted them to shoot at us. I was mad. These were my boys, and they left them in danger. Well, anyway, Travis showed us the trees, and lo and behold, my God, man, somebody had gone up those trees with tree spurs on and dug the damn bullets out of those trees. They dug the bullets out of those trees. You could see each tree that the bullets hit. You could see the spikes that went up the trees, and where it was torn up around underneath of them because of the spikes. And I'm a tracker. Me and Tim, we discovered where they came in from and where and then where they went back. And we got pictures of where the holes were dug out. And maybe I'm telling too much, I don't know. But anyway, one of the things I discussed with the head ranger and Frank, the BLM guy, and I don't know if I should use his name or not, is this fact. Because and it's on tape. We have it all on tape. Everything is on tape that we're talking about. I asked them, I told them, I said, if we have to go before the judge, I am going to ask the judge why this happened. Well, they didn't like that.
He said, well, I can't speak to the law enforcement part of the force. They don't report to us, and I don't know what their policies are. But anything that they do is designed to keep people safe. Now, that comment right there made no sense whatsoever. It did not fit what was asked of them. So how is getting shot at keeping people safe? And this is coming from that guy. It just blew us all away.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you're talking to a cop and he's talking to you, like, let's say for a speeding ticket, and someone runs up and is like, hey, someone's shooting at me over here, you think he'd drop what he was doing and run over there and see what's going on. And these guys were just totally uninterested in what was said about being shot at. They didn't care, it seemed like.
No, they didn't care.
They didn't care at all. My idea was that, and I'm not going to quote the agent here right now, but they knew that the boys were getting shot at. They already knew that the satellite camp was going up. And I think that they knew that the boys were getting shot at.
And so what happens next?
Well, after that was pretty much the end of that whole meeting. He assured us that we would have it within a few days, the application for the permit, and we kind of left it at that. And,
well, wait, hold on a second. They did tell us, Tim, was it you or Waylon asked, well, where can we go?
It was me.
Where can we go with our group of people? And they told us 4 Notch Road. We could go there. Yeah, and that's out to Big Woods.
Yeah.
And, well, I know Big Woods real well, and I wasn't going to take anybody in there. And Waylon went out and checked it all out and everything and said it was just fantastic. It is. It's fantastic, but there's a lot of stuff goes on there, and there's a lot of squatches in there.
What kind of stuff goes on in there?
People get killed up and down through that part of the Lone Star Trail. I don't want to go into that stuff.
So Waylon checks it out, and then what happens?
Well, see, we thought that we were perfectly fine going into that area because that's where they told us we could go.
That was the impression we were left with. Yep.
So we thought we were totally within our means, legal means, to be there because we were told by the BLM guy and the head ranger, hey, you guys can go over there. That's what we did, and that's why we continued with the expeditions. And they turned, and of course, you know, they turned out to be really good, but they're extremely aggressive over there. And, you know, people were getting really scared. They didn't want to go back out the next day, which was fine. You know, not all of them wanted to go out. Some of them still wanted to, adrenaline junkies, you know what I mean? But the whole thing is that as far as the permit goes, they told us we could go in there. We went in there. We thought we were within our legal rights, and they went off real good without a hitch for a good while. And then, bang! All of a sudden, we are just basically stormtrooped.
And if you would kind of talk about what happened, tell us what happened in that whole raid, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, one of the first things that happened, of course, you know, they wanted to know. They came out first. The police, the park police, came out first, and you know they wanted to know if people paid and stuff and all this stuff. And you know, a lot of these people paid a long time ago, and some of them paid, you know, just recently. And I didn't know what to tell them. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have any more trouble. I didn't want any trouble for these people out here. And I told them that no, none of these people paid. And I shouldn't have, but I did. They left, and within 15 minutes, 7, 8 cars come pulling in there with guys, and you know, in their bulletproof vests, and you know, all of this stuff and everything. And of course, you know, they knew where I was at, and they came to the trailer. They wanted me to come get in the car, and I told them no. I said, I'm not going to get in the car. I'll stay right here. And no, come on, get in the car so we can have a talk. I said, we can have a talk right here in the trailer. So he finally asked me, he said, well, can I come in? I said, I told you to come on in. And one of them stood outside the door. And he sat down, and, you know, he was trying to tell me, you know, we know these people, you know, have paid, and we're one of the people that, you know, paid. You know, it was us. And he said that, you know, we've been having y'all surveillance for a long time. We've got pictures of and videos of y'all leading groups out here and all of this stuff. And he said that he said they had recordings of us talking, and you know, me telling the people don't say anything, you know, if they're asked if they paid, and all of this crap and everything. And you know, I just said, well, you know, I'll tell you what, I want my lawyer. I picked up my phone, and he told me to put my phone down. Well, I told him I want my lawyer. He said, I'll talk to you and your damn lawyer together if you want me to. And I said, well, I'm trying to get my lawyer right here on the phone. I'll put your phone down. So I just threw my phone down. And I said, well, I'm not going to say anything else to you without my lawyer present. And so he tried to question me several times, and I just said, I want my lawyer. I said, I invoke my Miranda rights, and I will not speak to you anymore. I want my lawyer. Well, we know about this. We know about that. We know this. We know that. He said, I want to know what you know. I said, I don't know nothing. I only want my lawyer. Ask me questions about Tim. Ask me questions about Mo. Another guy that I'm not going to say his name on here because I know that they're going to be listening. Oh, they also told me, Wes, that they have people who monitor your show constantly, in case you didn't know.
Always nice to have new fans.
and I said, all I want is my lawyer. All I want is my lawyer. So he got frustrated and he got up and he left. He told me, he said, do not leave this, do not leave your trailer. Do not come out there. He left. They shut my door. I was instructed not to come out, not talk to anybody. So they started interrogating everybody out there. From what I understand, I don't know what happened out there because I wasn't allowed to go out there and be among the people and listen to what was being said and what was, they were asked. But they were apparently bringing people to their car, and apparently they were recording them, getting statements from them. And, they did it with Mo. They did it with Waylon and some of the other ones and everything. And they knew their guys' names. They knew all our, little secret names for everything and everywhere we go and all of that stuff. They had actually taken 2 of our game cams that had just been put up, and it says in their rules and regulations, those game cams can go up for 24 hours. Those game cams weren't up more than 2 hours, and they took them, and they told us that they took them. That's theft. They came back over to my trailer after they the people, and they told me that I had to leave now. If I was still here in 15 minutes, that they were going to put me in jail, or I would get another ticket and everything. They told me I couldn't leave anything with the people. I couldn't give them anything. I couldn't show them anything. I couldn't show them any videos, audios, pictures. I couldn't show them nothing. And I couldn't leave anything for them because that would be me giving or me providing for them. And that's against the law, and I would get another ticket. I wasn't even supposed to speak with them. Well, I did stay longer. And we ascertained that our phones were being surveillanced. We went ahead and picked up, and we left. And I tried to tell everybody, that I'll try to, be in contact with them and everything. We finally picked up my trailer and the chuck wagon. I couldn't leave them any food. I couldn't leave them any water. They would just have to be on their own. But they did let Mo stay there until 6 o'clock in the morning, which was good. But he really wasn't supposed to give them anything, or he would get another ticket. So anyway, we left.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, we left, and Mo left and everything, and these people were basically on their own, and I felt sorry for them, but we were being watched. When I left my neighborhood to go to the store or just go down the street, I would have a black or a white SUV on my butt, watching me, following where I was going. I couldn't go back out there and take care of these people. I felt horrible about it. Tim felt horrible about it. We discussed it some. But there was nothing that we could do, and I want the people to know that we didn't mean to desert them. That was not something Bob Garrett does or Tim Sermon does or any of the guys. We did not want to desert them, but we could not go back out there under penalty of another ticket or possibly jail. and they were following us around. They wanted us to come back out there. They wanted us to, they wanted to bust us again. And I am sorry about that. You know, it just broke my heart to leave those people out there. But, and I know that I'm getting off a little bit, but this is what happened.
I've seen the tickets, and it is funny some of the dates aren't right. I know the one in January, I mean, I can just go off of the show and know that the date isn't right, which seems odd that the date would be wrong. But so they had actually been watching you for a while. What did he say to you when he handed you the ticket? Was there any instructions, or was there a fine on the ticket?
No, there wasn't a fine. There was we had to go before the judge, it said. I had to go before the judge in order to, get my fine and everything, which I never, as a matter of fact, Tim and I and Mo, when we went to the federal building, this was the district, or what is it, Tim? The American or the U.S. district attorney was, what should I say, prosecuting us. We didn't see a judge.
Before we get into that, Tim, you had a run-in with this guy because you weren't there the night that when this, let's call it a felony, took place, where they raided you guys. What was your run-in with the guy?
Well, I had to work. Several of the expeditions. I wasn't out there Friday. I had gone home early Friday, or late Thursday night, and just came home and went to bed and got up around 4 o'clock. I had to go to work for 7 o'clock. I was going to head out there, and I was told that all this stuff went on, and I was just kind of blown away. And then I was told that was given a number and told that I needed to call this guy, and I called him, and he said, well, I need to meet with you. And I'm like, well, what do you need to meet with me for? He goes, I need to give you a citation. And I'm like, for what? For being out in the national forest. And I said, I wasn't even out there. And there were, at that point, there's just no point arguing with him. I said, look, all right, okay, I'll meet you. So I drove to their headquarters and sat there and walked in there and was talking to him, the two feds there, and they said, do you mind if I record this? And I said, not at all. And I pulled out my audio recorder, as long as you don't mind me recording this. And they didn't have any objections. So I've got that whole conversation recorded as well. It was the same thing. They was trying to interrogate me about Mo, about Bob, everything else. Wanted to know this, that, the other. And I just told them I didn't know anything. They asked me if I was an expert. And I said an expert at a mythical creature, according to you guys, doesn't exist. He goes, well, you're going to have to go before the judge. I said, okay, so I'm going to go before the judge and say I'm an expert of something that the state of Texas says doesn't exist. Oh, how's that going to go? You know? They didn't bat an eye at that one. But that's pretty much kind of how it went. And he wrote me the ticket, and he walked me back to my truck. And he looked at my truck and goes, oh, that's your truck? And I said, yeah. And he said, you're the one that pulled Bob's camper up there. And I said, yeah, I did. I did that on Thursday. That's pretty much all he said. I got in the truck and left.
Well, so he knew your vehicle and everything.
Yeah. And my ticket said the same thing that, the other one said. It just had no fine on it. It said it had to appear. And it was appearance was going to be within 60 days. Well, 60 days came and went. Well, I had this guy's card. So I called him up. I'm like, what's the deal? And he said, well, that conversation was interesting. He said, the attorneys, the district attorneys do not know what to do with this case. They don't know what to do with it. And I go, so what's the point? And he goes, well, the wheels of justice just turn slow. You'll be getting your summons. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Anyway, he said, it's not like, he goes, this isn't any more than a glorified speeding ticket. He goes, it's not like you were out there poaching. Well, when he said that, I said, well, we run across those from time to time in our travels about poachers. And he goes, really? Well, if you do, you can let me know. And he goes, if you scratch my back, I'm not opposed to scratching your back. And I said, with this whole situation, he said, yeah, I can intercede on your behalf for the district attorney's, pertains to them. So Bob and I and Waylon went out, and we knew of about 5, 6, 7 places that they were actively poaching. We documented them, GPS'd them, and came on back to the house. And I didn't trust the guy, but we went and sent him one place, and that'll be a little later. I can clarify what happened with that. But that's pretty much the 2 conversations that I've had with that fellow. And
so what happens next? You guys go to court?
Oh, we waited. Finally got a notification. All 3 of us got notified on the same day of the court date. The court date was August 9th, downtown Houston, Texas, at the U.S. District Court. We get down there, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and we get down in there and go up to the courthouse and have to find the place and go in there and sit and wait. The appointment was at 9 o'clock, and we go in there, and there's a few people in there, and the U.S. District Attorney gets up there and he goes, "This is equivalent to traffic court." And they had us all sit in a line of the order at which we got there, because they were going to just do it that way. Well, they pretty much cleared. We were the first 3. Me, Mo, and Bob were the first 3 in there. We're sitting down there. They hit everybody else. They hit everybody else and got their little tickets, or little speeding tickets, or parking tickets, or whatever, and got them out of the way. And these 2 feds are there too. And so then they call us, and they said, and they look around. Then they go back and they sit at the table, and they all sit there and talk. Then they come back and get us and said, "Look, we need to go out in the hallway." Now, keep in mind, there is no judge in this courtroom at all. We're supposed to be before a judge. There's no judge. We have a U.S. Assistant District Attorney and the 2 feds, and they pull us out in the hallway away from everybody. And they say, "Well, all right, well, Mr. Garrett, you have this and this. Mr. Sermons and Mr. Michaud, you have this amount." And then the feds say, "Yes, and $2,000 in restitution." Well, where is that getting paid to? Directly to the Forestry Service. We'll set that up with you. I mean, it was going in there. It was like dealing with the mob again, all over again. It was like a damn racket. No judge coming here basically saying that we had to do this deal or not, because they basically threatened us $10,000, 6 months to a year in prison, in federal prison.
Yeah, if you guys wanted to
contest it.
Yeah, if you guys wanted to contest it.
Yeah, they said you can just talk about it yourselves,
or actually even see a judge.
Yeah, we didn't even see a judge. There was no judge in there.
What I'm saying though is, how shady is it? It's like, okay, here's the deal. You guys take this deal, or if you'd like to speak to a judge, and you'll probably go to prison. I mean, I guess that's our justice system. God bless America.
Yeah, no kidding. But, they would have had to prove their case. But, what's to say they wouldn't have fabricated anything, I mean, I don't know. I was floored by the whole situation. Bob was floored by the whole situation. Mo was. But here's the kicker. So we go ahead and agree to the terms, and we go back in there. And so Bob's is what they said it was. And then me and Mo, they added an extra fine to us just because. It's almost like they decided that right there on the spot. We're going to get them with 2 fines because they're not going to argue with us. They said, "Well, you got 1 ticket, but you got 2 charges." Well, I'm sitting there thinking, well, crap, how does that work? I mean, it's like the freaking mob in action all the way.
Yeah, and it's too bad. That's really the way the justice system is set up. It's just for them to collect a paycheck. They don't really care about justice or the truth. Or
they didn't care about the fact that Tim wasn't even out there that one weekend. They didn't want to see any of it. They told us point blank, "We don't want to see any evidence y'all have against the officers." They didn't want to see any evidence whatsoever. They just wanted you to take their plea deal and accept the money that they wanted you to pay, and that was the end of it. If you go to court, then
you go to jail.
Yeah, we were going to go to jail. I mean, they guaranteed us that we were going to go to jail. We couldn't win anything.
The funny thing, though, is leading up to this, I contacted probably 15 to 20 lawyers. And I could not get a lawyer to take the case, and neither could Bob, and neither could Mo. They laughed about it, said this is ridiculous. This will never see the inside of a courtroom. This is ridiculous. I had one guy tell me, I've been practicing law for 50 years, and I have never seen this done, ever. So, I mean, just shady stuff.
Yeah, it is shady. I even ran it past 2 attorneys, and they both laughed at it. They were like, there's nothing really here to... No judge is going to hear this case. These guys are charging to go look for Sasquatch. Both attorneys were like, there's no way a judge is even going to hear this case. This is ridiculous. When I'd spoken with the attorneys, I said that, obviously they had been surveillancing these guys for months on end. They told the guys that. There was participants I've spoken with that overheard that they were surveillancing these guys for months. The attorneys were blown away by it. They just couldn't believe that, both attorneys just thought this was a joke. They're like, there's no way a judge is going to hear this.
I ran into the same things that Tim did, and it was just comical. I mean, I had some lawyers tell me that this was the best story they've had all day, and it made their day. I had some lawyers tell me that, this is the best story I've had all month. It's just, it's sad and it's disheartening, but at the same time, it's funny, It's funny, sad that you can't get anybody to represent you in court, and you can't even see a judge. You're forced to take a plea deal.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I don't know if there's going to be a change in tide with how law enforcement handles this, but I know, like the Olympic Project, when I went up there to Derek Randall's place, when I was talking to some of the Olympic Project members, they were saying a state forestry officer likes to come through there and hassle them. Now, this is a huge piece of property in the freaking middle of nowhere, and I asked him, I said, well, why is he coming by? And it's only when they have groups out there. I guess this guy comes through, and, Derek and those guys are out there, some pretty big guys, but I guess he kind of comes through and hassles them, but there's really nothing he can do because it's private land. And I heard another BFRO member kind of got nailed with what you guys got nailed with in Oklahoma or Arkansas. Tim and I were talking about it, and I think his fine was like $500, but they're going to go after the BFRO for it. But it's just, it amazes me. It's like, does our forestry department have nothing better to do? You know what I mean? You would think poachers, and you would think, I know there's a huge drug problem out there in Texas. You think they'd be more focused on people coming up from Mexico. I mean, I hate to sound like Trump, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Coming through there, and I know there's a lot of drug activity through that area. You think they'd be really focused on that. I mean, someone looking for Bigfoot, if I was a park ranger, I'd be like, well, who cares? You know what I mean? We got bigger fish to fry than people out looking for Bigfoot.
I want to tell you on a very serious note, and you and I have already spoken and talked a lot and everything. There is something out there. There is something going on that is more serious than whether people are looking for Sasquatch. Most people aren't going to find them. But, a lot of people aren't going to find them, or they're going to, walk into them by accident. Their accident, not the Squatches. But there's something out there that's bigger than all of us. And I want everybody to know that. I can't get into it. That goes against my the papers that I signed. And I know this is going to draw a lot of questions, and I'm sorry. But there's something out there that's bigger than all of us. All of the Sasquatch hunters, all of the amateur, Sasquatch hunters, the newbies, and all of that. Before you get into this, you need to think about it, because you may well stumble into something you don't want to know. Before Tim even got with us, we had made that stumble, and we would go out, and every time we went out to camp, we were basically harassed every time we went to a different camp, we were harassed. They didn't want us in there, and the thing that they wanted to know was what I knew. I just want to warn people, you go out there, you have a chance of running into something that they don't want you to know. I'm not saying don't do it, don't stop doing it. But we still cannot show anything that we have to people out there in the community. We were threatened about that.
Oh yeah, we were told without a doubt anything that's gotten out on the public land can be construed as a business venture, and they would prosecute to the fullest extent of the law anybody that did that. If you take a picture out there, if you get an audio file and you put it up on YouTube and you get money, if money changes hands, they will come after you. And that was made crystal clear. Now, with that being said, we did ask these guys, can we still go out there and research? And he said, yeah, we're not going to stop you from doing that. As long as there's no commercial enterprise going on, I don't have a problem with any of that stuff. Those are his words. We
should plan an expedition, not charge, have everyone bring their own food, and just go out there and see what happens. See if these guys show up.
Oh, they'll show up. But we can do it.
They're still watching. They're still watching.
We can do it. I mean, he's flat out told us as long as there's no money changing hands or anything like that, we can organize. We can do that. There's no money. We're just out there, big group of friends, out there doing research and stuff. He's made it crystal clear that that's perfectly fine.
But also, whatever we get, remember, Tim, whatever we get,
you can't share.
Stays between us.
Yeah.
We can't share that, or if we do share it, we could be prosecuted in some ways that they decide.
Is it because it was taken on federal land, like video, or?
Yes.
Because it was taken on federal land.
Yes.
If it was taken on public land, we could do anything we wanted to with it.
Private. Yeah,
I'm sorry, private land. Yeah, you're right, Tim. I'm sorry. You can do whatever you want to with it as long as you can prove that you got it off of private land. But if you get it off of, if you get a picture of a squatch, nice, clear, beautiful picture, he said, I don't care. But you use it, there could be repercussions. Tim asked me, he said, well, are you going to go after us if we do? And he said, he thought about it for a little while, and he said, what did he say, Tim? He said,
yeah, he said, it just depends on the circumstances. It would be case by case, but yeah, the threat of that would be there. And that, he goes, the big key to it is if there's money changing hands. And, if you think about it, say you get a freaking awesome thing, you throw it on YouTube starts paying you, there's the avenue that they're going to go and he's going to prosecute you on or get you on. So the whole situation is just totally bizarre. It really is. But the funny thing is, I mentioned, I don't know if we should say that, I told about the poacher. They actually caught one, and they caught the guy that we turned in the site because he was in the courtroom with us.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for those guys, man. Some of those guys, they, if they find out it was you guys, they'll pay you a visit while they're out there. Some of those poachers, man, you don't mess with them.
Yeah. But, at the end of all this, we're sitting there talking to the agent, and you know what he asks us? He goes, you know what you guys can help me with? He goes, you guys know what you're doing out there. You guys know what's normal, a normal trail, and what's not. Well, we're having an issue right now with the cartel, is what he said. And he goes, if you run across those, just report them to me. I was sitting there thinking, cartel? I don't know about reporting any of that crap. I like my head on my shoulders.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding.
You want to talk about somebody who doesn't play, it's those guys. Even after all this, he basically made it sound like we were free to do whatever we want to. We run across stuff, just let him know. It's just crazy. It's like making a deal with the devil.
It really was. It wasn't a normal day at court. Not that I've ever gone to court so much, but, traffic court, yeah. Back when I was driving, that's how I had to quit driving, because a lot of people don't know that, but I do have seizures. So I can't drive anymore. But, normal traffic court is not like this. I even got to see a judge in normal traffic court. She's the one that just decided I wasn't driving anymore, which was fine. I shouldn't be.
Yeah, I just think the whole situation is crazy. It'd be nice to, I'd love to arrange some expeditions to where people can just come out and see if we run into problems with these guys. Because I have a feeling they really don't care if money's exchanged. I have a feeling that's more or less just kind of well, this is what we're after, but really it's not really what they're after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a side note, I wanted to ask you guys, Bob or Tim, have you guys ever been in a situation where you're out in the woods and you hear what sounds like children laughing, or like a child laughing, or a little girl laughing?
Actually, yeah. Like kids laughing. Actually, it was on one of the expeditions that we had. Everybody was out. I was at camp, and I think I was with Bob, and we heard it.
Yeah.
Coming from the woods. So yeah, I've heard that. I haven't heard it often.
And you've heard it too, Bob?
Yes, I've heard it quite often, especially when I'm in the woods by myself. When I was mapping and going through the national forest a lot, both up north and down here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've had 2 witnesses on now in the last 2 weeks, and these guys didn't really see anything in both of these encounters. But what was interesting is there were 2 hunters, both in the middle of nowhere, and they both hear this, sounds like a little girl laughing, or like kids laughing. And I've had a few witnesses on before, and I've always wondered, is that something Sasquatch does, or is that something else that people are running into? I even had a Native American tribal leader high up on the reservation, and he even talked about that he had heard this laughter, and it makes me wonder if it's something Sasquatch is doing, or if people are running into something else. Because I believe them. I think that this is going on. I just don't have a great answer for them on what it is they're hearing.
Well, I can't say if it's Sasquatch or not. I just know I've heard the sounds.
I don't have an answer for you. The only thing, the Native Americans, my wife's family, they just say that they're spirits. I've never gotten anything other than that out of that, or about that out of them, or my sister-in-law who's Navajo. They don't talk about stuff like that much, but I don't have a direct answer for you, Wes. I really don't.
I would imagine, though, hearing something like that would scare the crap out of you in the middle of the woods. Especially, and you wouldn't think a child's laughter would scare you. Both of the witnesses I had on said it wasn't quite like a child laughing, but that's what they would compare it to. It would still creep me out, being out there and hearing that in the middle of nowhere.
There's an area over here that we don't, I don't go into too much. I think Tim and I walked down it a little ways one time. But at night or early in the mornings, we used to hunt this area. Travis and I did. You can hear blood-curdling screams, which really do raise a hair on the back of your neck, and they sound human. Just anguished, horrible screams. And I don't know what all that's about. That's something beyond me. I mean, I'll take Sasquatch any day besides the paranormal. I look at it as paranormal. And I don't want to mess with it. It's kind of like the forest lights. There's no way I'm chasing them or anything else. We see them, and that's fine. They can just go away. I have no answer for any of that.
Yeah, it's scary. It's terrifying, especially to hear that. I've seen the lights too.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I don't recommend people chase those lights because they will chase you back. And like I said, I wasn't sure if it's something. The Navajo I had on, he was like the Navajo I had on. I mean, that sounded really racist. The gentleman I had on from the Native American reservation, he was talking about how Sasquatch laughs. He's heard Sasquatch laugh before. And so well,
they do laugh.
You've heard them laugh before?
Yeah. Sasquatch will laugh. They smile, they coon, they croon to their babies. They do a lot of stuff like that. That they have a humor. It's just hard to explain when you're watching them and you hear this laughter come from them and everything, and you see them smile at each other, smile at their young. I mean, it's like I'm looking at some indigenous people here, but then again, like I always say, I don't understand them. I've said it so many times that they have a humanity, but their humanity is not like ours. It is not developed like ours. And their humanity is on the wild side. I still only believe that they are animals, but I think that they are very close. They're very close to us. I've heard it say, a chief once said, they didn't change when man changed. I don't know. I thought that was quite profound. I don't know what to say other than I'm confused by them and interested in them at the same time. I know that they can laugh. I know that they can cry. I know that they can smile, that they croon to their young. They're good with their young. Some of them are. Their humanity is just not like ours. I believe that they do have some humanity. But if you look at chimps, if you look at apes, they have a humanity, or they tend to portray a humanity of some sort, a wild humanity, an undeveloped humanity. Some people out there might understand what I'm saying. I'm not a scientist, I just know what I've observed, and that's the way I feel about it. Totally inside my heart, that's the way I feel about it. Their humanity is not developed like ours is.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's why it's such a confusing subject, because you do hear about them putting on traits or doing things that are very human-like, and then in the same breath, you hear about these animalistic type behaviors, like you're dealing with a wild animal. And so it is confusing at times. It'd be easier to place this into a mountain lion. A mountain lion is a wild animal, or a bear, or something to where you kind of gauge what you're up against. And sometimes with these things, it's hard to tell what you're up against.
What you're looking at out there, in my observations, is you're looking at something that can have a compassion and does have a lot of compassion. But also at the same time, you're looking at something out there that for absolutely no reason, some type of trespass or whatever, a slight that they think that they got, will kill you, take your head off, pop you like a grape. We have something in us that, well, some of us do anyway, have something in us that, it does something to you when you know you've done wrong. You get this feeling. I don't think they have that. I don't think they ever developed that. I don't think that they know fully right from wrong, or what we consider right from wrong. What they consider survival is the best way I can say it, because I'm not a scientist. I don't know. It's just what I've seen, Wes. And
yeah, I tend to agree with you on it. I guess the only other thing before we get back to the, just kind of wrap up the whole conversation, I wanted to ask you, Bob and Tim, what you guys thought about this. I had these two brothers on a couple weeks ago, and I still talk with them, and I absolutely believe this is going on their property. They've even sent me lots of pictures I've gone through. They are, one of the brothers, I spoke to him the other day, he said he has a feeling now that they're trying to kill him. And I don't think it's really paranoid. I really think this is how this guy feels. He said they've focused on him and his brother. His brother lives, I think, about 5 acres down, or, a mile down the road or whatever. But he says that because they're always out at night, this whole community shuts down at dark. And he's spoken to some of the neighbors around this community, and they said, yeah, these creatures are out here, and that's why do you think the place goes to a ghost town as soon as the sun's going down? It's because these things. They feel like they're trying to kill them, but one of the things, going back to animalistic type behaviors that we're talking about, both of these brothers have been chased by these things. And one night, one of the brothers was chased into his garage, and he ran inside the house. The garage door was still open. The garage was still open. Well, eventually it left. And when he was trying to get his brother down and say, hey, I just got chased by something, they finally go into the garage and they see muddy footprints, huge, muddy, human-like footprints. But they also see where this thing had peed while it was chasing one of the brothers. And I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, I for some reason, I can picture a gorilla or some other non-human primate getting so excited of chasing something that it pees, or it, you know, and it's interesting because he said some of them look kind of humanish. Most of them look very monkey-like, a cross between a person and a monkey. But he said some of them are more human-like. And he said there's one that kind of reminds him of Chewbacca's that has really long hair. It's matted. It's not the biggest one, but he said that it directs traffic. And I asked him, I said, what do you mean it directs traffic? And he was saying, well, it does like hand motions, and the rest of them move around like the military, like you'd see special forces run around, but they're all following the direction of this one. And he said that's what it does. It makes like hand motions. It clicks with its tongue. The only one that in this whole group where they say they've heard what you describe as like the samurai chatter or someone talking is from the alpha, what they consider the alpha male. They said it's gray, it's the biggest one, and that's the only, when he does this chatter thing, they all kind of come to him. I kind of went off on a tangent. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was fascinating, especially it peeing while it was chasing one of the brothers.
Well, that's nothing unusual. You know, that's just, it's a mark. They're marking. You can go out there and pee on his pee and come back, and it'll have 4 or 5 spots, and it'll stink like hell out there. Travis and I did that too. We went out there and urinated all around where we set up some game cams. Well, the game cams were torn off, and they were peed on and everything. Yeah, I didn't show that to anybody, but yeah, it stunk really bad out there and everything, and you know, really bad. But don't mark territory when you go out there and you know that they're around.
Yeah, and that's interesting because one of the brothers said it stunk. He said where it peed, it stunk.
Yeah, it'll make it stink.
Well, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent with you guys.
Well, about that other stuff, I really don't know. I've never seen anything like that before. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. He said that he's the one that directs traffic. And they say he's the smartest one. And I said, well, what do you mean he's the smartest one? And they said some of them will make mistakes, like they'll throw stuff at the house and they'll go out there and they're standing in the open. This one with the longer hair, he said, never makes a mistake. He's like the smart one out of the group. And he goes, I don't know how to explain it to you, but he's just the smartest one in the group. You know, those brothers, they're just more or less wanting these things to go away. They have good information. If you talk to them, they'll, just from their experiences, they'll tell you different things. And some of the things I hadn't heard before. This isn't a research project for them. They didn't know these things were real, and they just want them to go away. So it's a fascinating situation. I may end up flying out there to go check it out.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it does.
I appreciate you guys coming on and just talking about what happened. I know I had Steven on, and he was describing it from the opposite perspective of you guys, of being out there and being questioned. And, you know, he described the show of force that came in. And I just appreciate you guys telling the other side of it and just, you know, what happened from your perspective.
Well, now that all this is over, we wanted to tell that side of it. Tim and I did.
Yeah, we did. But, you know, we would have said things earlier, but, you know, we haven't been on anything, any kind of media at all, because we were told not to. It's not like we just disappeared, but we did. But it was an intentional thing. We were told not to do it, so we wanted to comply. At this point, compliance is more important than anything else. You know, I think my wife said it best. She went to court with me and said, you know, those people can do whatever the hell they want to do, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. Well, she hit it on the head.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, for coming on and coming on the air. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Always
no problem, Wes. Well, thank you for giving us a chance to tell our side of it now that we can.
Yeah.
And that's it for tonight, everyone. Remember, if you've had an encounter and you'd like to be on the show,
Man, Sasquatch Chronicles is so friggin' interesting. What the hell? I'm telling you, the more you listen to of all these different people having all these things go on, there's definitely something going on out there. What is it? I don't know, but that is some good falling asleep listening right there. Well, I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night, I think. So, anyway, stay tuned to the Discord, and if you're not in there yet, jump in that Discord. That's where we post all the raffle winners, and there's a bunch of cool updates. And and Zero just got a set. What good timing! Literally, what good timing. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. I'll talk to you guys soon.